And you see, it is not a point of RBI as a separate and government separate.
Okay.
What is the point is that surplus of the RBI, it's a borrowed reserve. We must understand that this reserve has not been built up by the surplus of the current account surplus of the country. That is a major difference. Second difference is that all these developed countries which have been talked about, the USA or things, they can borrow in their own currency. India has not ability to still now to borrow in their own currency in the international market. So if you do not have the capacity to consider that RBI is a very big fund, RBI is a very, a central banks having a very large profit is not a indication of the better health of the economy. Okay. Because its economy is maybe the opposite side of it.
Okay.
So to look at the RBI as different from the bank government. At the same time, to tell that it's a part of the government, I should take the money. It's a kind of it is a kind of contradiction in your argument.
That's not the right way to look at the things. Okay. Final. We're running short of time, Mr. Nag. So let's have final words from Professor Agarwal here on what all needs to be done and the suggestions, like as Mr. Khan put in or Mr. Nag is pointing out, the way to look at the things from here onwards in future.
No, I think it is a positive move given the fact that the RBI is looking at the scenario in economics, what is going on, the way demands are there, and I think this fund will give that ease to the government to go about looking at judiciously going about spending. This government is very careful in terms of devising that, and this will set a trend for the RBI in the future also to look at the earnings. I think it's not a question that we have had loss making RBI. We've had a fairly good managed, well managed RBI. It has been always upholded world over, and we have had INR, actually sovereign debts which have been raised in the overseas. Indian rupee is actually a reserve currency in various countries for a large number of years, for decades now. So it is that the Indian currency enjoys that framework. I'm happy that the RBI considerately by itself actually forwarded, like a good citizen, did its own bid to actually give to the government a certain kitty of its funds so that the government could take care of the people's need of this country, which is the dire need of today of getting the economy out of a little bit of sluggishness, or the sluggishness we are getting to see coming in.
Okay, so there it is, the why and how of Reserve Bank of India's surplus funds which have been given to the government of India. Now, as our panelists are pointing out, the ball lies in the government's court as to how will it spend this money and on what exactly. Will it be on boosting the infrastructure or will it be on fiscal financing? Let's wait and watch, and keep watching Rajya Sabha television as well.
The conches cell has an incredible legacy in India. Blowing conches are an important part of religious ceremonies for millions of Hindus across the country. The ancient Indian epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata make frequent references to the use of conch as ceremonial trumpet and as a libation vessel. It is also speculated that the conches, with its deep sonorous boom, is perhaps the origin of the sacred syllable Om. According to traditional belief of the Hindus, blowing conches is said to ward off evil spirits. It also served as a device to call the people to their religious rites and attract the attention of the deities to the ceremonies being performed.
শাঁখ বাজাতে হয়, এটা একটা মঙ্গল সূচক ধ্বনি।
Hello and good evening. Jammu and Kashmir Governor Satyapal Malik has made some major announcements today which hold the promise of better days to come for the people of the state, even while the Supreme Court decided the petition challenging the ending of Jammu and Kashmir's special status will be heard by the Constitutional Bench. We'll get you more updates on how things are shaping up related to Jammu and Kashmir in Newsnight tonight. I'm Gautam Roy. We'll also be talking about the government's big-ticket booster doses for both foreign direct investment in the country as well as the health sector. Historic cabinet decisions have been announced today. But first, our headlines. The Modi government takes a major call on foreign direct investment. Cabinet allows 100% FDI through automatic route in coal mining and contract manufacturing. Local sourcing and brick-and-mortar stores prerequisites relaxed in single brand retail. 26% FDI through approval route also cleared for digital media. The Union Cabinet also takes historic decision to open 75 new medical colleges with an allocation of over 24,000 crore rupees in the next 3 years. Over 15,700 new MBBS seats will be created. Relief also for cane farmers who are set to get subsidy of 6,268 crore rupees for exporting 60 lakh tons of surplus sugar. Boon for Jammu and Kashmir youth after abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. Governor Satyapal Malik announces 50,000 recruitments in the next 3 months. New schools and medical colleges also on the anvil. New scheme in collaboration with NAFED soon to help apple growers. After primary and middle schools, several high schools also reopened in the entire state of Jammu and Kashmir. Most telephone exchanges also reopened with no untoward incident being reported. The Supreme Court transfers all petitions opposing abrogation of Article 370 to its constitutional bench. The BJP takes Rahul Gandhi to task over his J&K comments. IMB Minister Prakash Javadekar says the former Congress chief is playing into Pakistan's hands while doing vote bank politics. Seeks apology from the Wayanad MP. J&K Governor calls Rahul a political juvenile. The IMB Minister releases a booklet titled Sahi Niyat Mazboot Faisle on the completion of 75 days of the Modi government's second term. Calls ending of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir a historic move. Says the government is taking multiple initiatives to make India the world's third largest economy. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. Holds talks on issues of mutual interest at the bilateral and global levels. Both leaders get an overview of the preparations for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming Russia visit for the 20th annual bilateral summit. And India's tribute to its Iron Man Statue of Unity figures in Time magazine's list of world's 100 greatest places to visit. Prime Minister Modi terms the news excellent, informs that just a few days ago, a record 34,000 people visited the marvel in a single day. Well, after primary and middle schools, a large number of high schools were also reopened in the Kashmir Valley, reflecting the administration's confidence in the people of the state and the tight security arrangements. J&K Governor Satyapal Malik assured the state's people today that their identity will be protected. He added that 50,000 jobs will be created for the state's youth in the coming 3 months and many other big-ticket announcements will be made soon. The day also saw the Supreme Court transferring the petitions challenging the abrogation of Article 370 by the centre to the larger 5-judge constitutional bench. The top court has also asked the centre to respond to pleas for removal of restrictions on internet and media in Jammu and Kashmir. The matter will be taken up in a week's time.
Situation is slowly turning to normalcy in the Kashmir Valley after the abrogation of Article 370. The situation remained calm and normal on Wednesday on the 24th day. Vehicular movement has improved and restrictions have been eased in 81 police station areas, even though security apparatus continues to be tight to prevent any law and order situation. Telephone connections have also been restored at many places in Kashmir. Governor Satyapal Malik made a big announcement on Wednesday. He said that 50,000 jobs will be available for the region in the next 3 months. This will be the largest recruitment drive in the state. The centre, he said, will make a big announcement on Jammu and Kashmir.
पूरे जो गवर्नमेंट का सिस्टम है उसने एक्सरसाइज करके ढूंढा, हमारे पास 50,000 गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स हैं, वो हम भरेंगे, उसकी हम घोषणा करते हैं। नौजवानों से कहेंगे कि वो उसमें बढ़ चढ़ के हिस्सा लें, शिरकत करें। 50,000 नौकरियां हम आने वाले 2-3 महीने में यहाँ के नौजवानों को दे देंगे।
He further said that many other schemes will be implemented in Jammu and Kashmir in the coming days.
यहाँ के जो एप्पल ग्रोवर्स हैं उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, उनसे हम वाकिफ हैं। अभी तो शुरू हुआ है, फसल 15 दिन बाद असल में उसको तोड़ना शुरू करेंगे। 22 लाख मेट्रिक टन एप्पल होता है। देयर आर 7 लाख फार्मर्स ग्रोइंग एप्पल। नाफेड से बात हुई है, वो वर्क आउट कर रहे हैं एक स्कीम जिसमें वो एमएसपी डिक्लेयर करेंगे जो बाजार भाव से कम 10 रुपए ज्यादा होगा।
Further, there are many more schemes on the anvil. The centre is planning to open one ITI and other skill development centres in each district for the benefit of the youth. 50 more colleges have also been sanctioned by the administration. High schools were opened in the Kashmir Valley in the areas where there have been easing of restrictions. A total of 3,337 primary schools, 774 middle schools have been opened. There has been a considerable increase in the number of students and teachers in schools in the last 1 week. The governor said that medical services are functioning normal and rumours must be ignored. He also assured that Jammu and Kashmir's identity will be protected.
नॉर्मलसी में वापस आने के लिए मैं लोगों को एक आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि जम्मू कश्मीर की आइडेंटिटी, इसका कल्चर, इसका रिलीजन, सोसाइटी, लैंग्वेज, हेरिटेज, हर चीज की हम हिफाजत करेंगे। उसको किसी तरह का उसके ऊपर बाहर से कोई प्रेशर आने नहीं देंगे और उसको प्रिजर्व करेंगे, प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे।
Situation was calm and peaceful on Wednesday and no untoward incident was reported. The vehicular movement is normal and people are leading a normal life. People though face problems booking air tickets due to internet not functioning. But the government has opened a separate counter for it, which is proving to be a big help to the people. The Supreme Court has referred Article 370 cases to 5-judge Constitution bench. While hearing the pleas against the repeal of Article 370, the Apex Court said that the petitions related to abrogation of special status of Jammu and Kashmir will be heard by a Constitution bench in October. Supreme Court allowed the petitioners to travel to Kashmir but to not participate in any political activity. The court allowed the petitioner student to travel to Jammu and Kashmir and visit Anantnag to his parents. The court has directed the state government to take necessary arrangements for the same and provide adequate security. The matter relating to Article 370 is with the constitutional bench of the Supreme Court, but the state government is leaving no stone unturned to provide all relief to people of the state and taking all the steps to ensure speedy development of the state. With inputs from Anuj, Ajay Vikram and Vikas Sarthi in Delhi, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Rahul Gandhi was at the receiving end of the Modi government's ire today for his previous remarks on the government's decision to end the special status of Jammu and Kashmir. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar took the former Congress president to task, saying he's insulted the country and given Pakistan a handle to target the nation at the United Nations. An apology has also been sought. Rahul has attempted to walk back on his statements through social media, but it seems to be a classic case of too little, too late.
Even as Jammu and Kashmir is moving towards complete normalcy, statements by opposition leaders are providing fodder to the Pakistani government and the media there to attack India. Attacking Congress leader Rahul Gandhi for making a similar false remark on Kashmir, the Bharatiya Janata Party said that he has insulted the country and given Pakistan a handle to target India at the UN. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Prakash Javadekar added that Rahul Gandhi's allegations about violence in Kashmir were wrong and said that these statements were made due to that party's vote bank politics.
राहुल गांधी जी का बयान देश को शर्मसार करने वाला है। जो कश्मीर की वास्तविकता नहीं है वो बोले, जो पाकिस्तान के हाथ में वो खेले। ये केवल बैंक्रप्सी नहीं है, ये तो दिवालियापन है ही, लेकिन उससे ज्यादा ये वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स है।
Javadekar demanded an apology from Gandhi and the main opposition party while describing the former Congress chief's remarks in which he had spoken about reports of violence and death of people in Kashmir as most irresponsible politics the country has witnessed.
परमिशन लिए बगैर आप कश्मीर जाएंगे, उद्देश्य क्या था? भड़काने का था। और ऐसे जब जाते हो तो फिर रीजनेबल रिस्ट्रिक्शन को भी आप इस तरह से पीपल आर डाइंग और रिपोर्ट्स ऑफ वायलेंस कहोगे तो वो गलत है। अपने देश के बारे में ऐसा कोई भी राजनेता नहीं कहता जो राहुल गांधी ने कहा है, और इसलिए कांग्रेस को माफी मांगनी चाहिए, राहुल गांधी को माफी मांगनी चाहिए।
He further said that Gandhi's tweets on Wednesday attacking Pakistan and asserting that Kashmir is India's internal issue were made due to public anger over his earlier comments. JNK Governor Satyapal Malik said Rahul Gandhi is behaving like a political juvenile.
राहुल गांधी के लिए मैं इसलिए नहीं बोलना चाहता क्योंकि वो एक देश के प्रतिष्ठित परिवार का लड़का है, लेकिन उसने बहुत जिसको कहिए फिर वो वर्ड में कहीं यूज किया था, वो जो पॉलिटिकल जुवेनाइल की तरह बिहेव किया है, और उसी का नतीजा है कि आज यूएनओ में पाकिस्तान की चिट्ठी में उसके बयानात दर्ज हुए हैं.
Meanwhile, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. He added, if at all a discussion is needed, it is to be done on Pakistan-occupied parts of Jammu and Kashmir.
Our neighbor is aiding, abetting, funding, training terrorists continuously without realizing the damage they are doing to the humanity. And also the damage they are going to inflict on themselves in the coming future. They should understand that. And we don't want to interfere in anybody's internal affairs. But we don't want others also not to interfere in our internal affairs. They were talking about Kashmir, this to discuss, what is there to discuss in Kashmir? Kashmir is an integral part of India.
Many leaders and union ministers, including Home Minister Amit Shah, have asserted that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India, and that includes the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. While India is mounting a successful diplomatic effort to win the support of the global community, statements from some opposition leaders is proving to be counterproductive and damaging to the nation. With inputs from Kumar Alok, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now for an even bigger news of the day, perhaps the Union Cabinet has taken a huge leap in ensuring that the country becomes a part of the global value chain and a mega manufacturing hub through the FDI route today. FDI limits and conditions have been relaxed in 4 sectors: coal, contract manufacturing, single brand retail and digital media, where for the first time FDI of 26% through government approval route has been allowed, just like in print media. 100% foreign direct investment has been allowed for coal mining and contract manufacturing. Sourcing and brick-and-mortar store norms have been eased for single-brand retailers. Today's cabinet decisions also go beyond FDI, and to find out all about the Modi government's moves at the highest level, take a look at this report.
The Union Cabinet has relaxed foreign direct investment rule for foreign single-brand retailers and also permitted foreign investment in contract manufacturing and coal mining. Union Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal said that 100% FDI under automatic route in coal mining and associated infrastructure has been approved. Further, to boost domestic manufacturing, 100% FDI in contract manufacturing under automatic route has been allowed. Further, 26% FDI has been allowed in digital media. On FDI and single brand retailing, the Cabinet has expanded the definition of mandatory 30% domestic sourcing norm. The Cabinet has also allowed single brand retailers to start online sales, waiving the previous condition of setting up mandatory brick and mortar store.
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में 100% ऑटोमेटिक रूप से एफडीआई को अलाउ किया गया है। अभी तक जो कंपनी खुद मैन्युफैक्चर करती थी उसको तो 100% एफडीआई अलाउड था, लेकिन वो थर्ड पार्टी से कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कराती थी तो वो अलाउड नहीं होता था। एक सिंगल ब्रांड रिटेल ट्रेडिंग में पहले से काफी छूट दी थी, जिसमें 100% एफडीआई अलाउ किया गया था, लेकिन जब भी 51% से ज्यादा एफडीआई था उसमें हमने कहा था कि 30% भारत से लोकल सोर्सिंग होनी चाहिए अगर वो एफडीआई 51% से ज्यादा है। कल्पना अभी भी वही है कि 30% से ज्यादा लोकल सोर्सिंग हो, लेकिन उसकी गहराई में जाने के बाद कुछ कमियां जो दिखी, उन कमियों को निकालते हुए इस रेजिम को और सुविधाजनक बनाएं।
Giving a big boost to medical infrastructure in the country, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved setting up of 75 government medical colleges to be attached with existing district or referral hospitals by 2021-22. The establishment of new medical colleges will add at least 15,700 MBBS seats in the country. The new medical colleges would be set up in underserved areas having no medical colleges, with district hospitals having at least 200 beds. The establishment of new medical colleges to be attached with existing district and referral hospitals would lead to an increase in the availability of qualified health professionals, improve tertiary care in government sector, utilize existing infrastructure of district hospitals and promote affordable medical education in the country.
24,000 करोड़ रुपए के खर्चे से
75 नए मेडिकल कॉलेज बनेंगे। इससे 15,700 एमबीबीएस की नई सीटें तैयार होगी और ये सभी जहां मेडिकल कॉलेज नहीं है ऐसे अनसर्व्ड जिलों में किए जाएंगे। एक तरह से विकास के इसमें जो पिछड़ गए थे, जिनको अवसर नहीं मिला था, जो आकांक्षी जिले हैं और बाकी ऐसे जिले हैं जहां मेडिकल कॉलेज नहीं है, उसको ये प्राथमिकता दी जाएगी।
The CCA has also approved a rupees 6,268 crore subsidy for export of 6 million tons of sugar during the 2019-20 marketing year starting October. This has been done in order to liquidate surplus domestic stock and help mills in clearing huge sugarcane arrears to farmers. A lump sum export subsidy of rupees 10,448 per ton will be given to sugar mills in the 2019-20 marketing year. This will benefit millions of farmers in Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Karnataka as well as other states. The government is providing subsidy for export of 5 million tons of sugar for the current 2018-19 marketing year. With inputs from Sudhakar Das, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And that brings up our In Focus tonight, which is Modi government's FDI and health sector booster dose. And to talk about it, we have in our studio senior journalist R. Rajagopalan, and also we have the company of Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, DG RIS. Welcome to you both. And Dr. Chaturvedi, first to you. What do you make of this major announcement on the FDI front by the government? 4 sectors altogether. To what do you think would be the biggest significance among all these 4, or are they equally important?
I think they are all equally important, but much more important than all the sectors put together is the new narrative that the government has come up with in last couple of years. If you see the FDI inflows in last 5 years, you find it to be close to $286 billion. And if you see the previous 5 years from 2009 to 2013-14, the figure was only $189 billion. So you see a mega jump.
2018-19 was the highest ever, perhaps.
With $64 billion. So that I think is very important figure when you are seeing the UNCTAD global report showing slide in FDI all across the world. The second important point here is the decline in the outbound foreign direct investment. It's not just inbound that we should talk about. We should see the confidence that the industry now is getting, that the outbound FDI has declined now, which is much less than $50 billion, which had at one point in 2012-13 had reached as high as $82 billion. So outflow was much higher than the inflow, and the inflow never crossed $34 billion. Now we in 18-19 we had $64 billion. So this is a huge jump that we see in FDI. Coming to the sectoral composition of today's cabinet announcement, I think the fact that in media, in the current affairs component, particularly in the digital sort of uplinking, this would be a mega move forward. But much more important is the single brand retail trading, that now the definition for the domestic sourcing has been expanded, and that I think should attract huge investment.
I thought you'd be more excited about contract manufacturing.
Contract manufacturing, yes, absolutely right. This is going to pave way for the huge Make in India Connect that we have been trying to establish. And another point that I wanted to establish here is the huge convergence that we are now seeing between the Ministry of Finance and the Reserve Bank of India. So more and more policy convergences we are now seeing, which is providing the dynamic traction that is required. So today's announcement, if you juxtapose over the recent announcements by the Governor RBI, you find that dynamic traction.
Also the announcement that was made by the Finance Minister, also just tracking back a few days.
Exactly.
R. Rajgopalan, politically speaking, what do you make of these decisions? How will the government take them to the people? Because there are of course opponents who say that these were the very decisions which when the BJP was in opposition, it vehemently opposed when the then government had single brand retail proposal was there for the UPA government as well, and all these other sectors too.
Politically speaking, it's a massive major decision by Mr. Narendra Modi government, because I foresee whatever Dr. Chaturvedi said on technical terms and financial terms. Politically, I tell you, my understanding, Gautam, is BJP's election manifesto, 20-30% of that made in 2019 manifesto has been implemented. That itself is a thumbs up to Narendra Modi government. Apart from that, in the Sankalp Patra, what Mr. Narendra Modi said, that is the vow what they have taken in first 100 days, they have implemented in 75 days itself. Apart from that, the coal infrastructure where FDI, the digital medium, which they added to the strength of 5G is unleashing next year. Once you see that digital medium and 5G together, next year at 2020-21 is going to be a boom for digital media, whichever the advertisement sector or for that matter news, current affairs, entertainment. My understanding is Narendra Modi government has pushed this ease of doing business with every sector. Apart from that, what you said about that contract forming, FDI, whatever that, Apple telephones will be manufactured in India in another 2-3 years, which the laptop computers and also mobile phones are all to be made in India. That is what Make in India process of Mr. Narendra Modi's government is going to be a major success. And second thing, politically speaking, I understand Maharashtra elections are around the corner. The sugar subsidy which has been given will help massive way to the farmers of Maharashtra. And second thing, 75 colleges in remote areas, that is going to be a game changer for Narendra Modi government. And 3 years Mr. Narendra Modi has given a time for
this
that
is of course
to
coupled with Ayushman Bharat.
Ayushman Bharat, every both together. That means Mr. Narendra Modi is aiming at 2024 elections and seeing that in Sankalp se Siddhi tak. That is the motto of Narendra Modi government. Sankalp to ho gaya hai, Siddhi tak jayenge another 3 years mein. That is the roadmap Mr. Narendra Modi laid it today. And apart from that, 2019 after Narendra Modi got elected, this is the first cabinet decision which is pro-poor, pro-industry, pro-infrastructure, make in India plus ease of doing business. And second thing, Mr. Narendra Modi's decision about the UN Council, where he is going to speak about the climate change and also about this, CDRI, what he is going to do in United Nations, that also got approved. Total 18 agenda items were there, and all the 18 agenda
move on
items
disaster
are all
management
political.
is also related to climate change, because a lot of disasters that we're seeing in the country, natural ones, are not so natural, because some of them are almost man-made. But if we come back to what's happening in the FDI front, Dr. Chaturvedi, what do you think will ensure that this FDI, the flood of FDI that we expect, will actually come into India? Because what is needed right now, apart from these easing of norms, is perhaps other areas as well, where conditions and lot of clearances need to be eased.
Absolutely right, Gautam, and you have posed it very correctly. If you see the global scenario, most of the US firms now are very keen to step out of China. The escalation of war between US and China is a trade war, which is now getting into currency and many other dimensions of the economic engagement between the two countries. And similar pattern you are now finding between South Korea and Japan. So you are now looking at engagements by firms where easing of sort of rules and regulations is being accelerated. Brazil and South Africa are already struggling with their own domestic challenges. So India then emerges as an important destination, and the fact that today's cabinet decisions are in 4 major sectors have paved way for ease of doing business. This effort has been on since 2014, and today's cabinet decision has given a major fillip to it in terms of making India a major destination for FDI. The fact that the monetary easing is being pursued by major economies of the world is another important factor in our favor, where more and more FDI related decisions are to be taken in favor of destinations where parking would be easier. So probably the recent announcements, as you earlier said very rightly, the finance minister made those announcements after the budget sort of SOPs that were given. I think this all is going to be extremely favored by the foreign direct investors and the major companies.
And in terms of this digital media, for the first time 26% FDI, if you look at the experience of how it's gone in print, there was at one time there was speculation that the limit could be raised to 49%, but that did not happen. Do you think 26% is enough to attract foreign investment in this highly competitive and revenue intensive kind of sector?
I think, Gautam, if you look at the current trends in current affairs, where this has been encouraged, the sector that has been encouraged, a huge sort of permutation combinations are emerging in this space, where you find more and more establishments getting into only that narrowly focused component of current affairs and analysis that is bringing in some of the economic and wider global issues. And that, I think, would be a very different story from the print. And there you find more and more actors playing an important role, and this would probably be opening the floodgates for foreign direct investments. And this, in a way, if you look back, those who have been saying that this government is not open for new ideas, is not open for discussions and debates, I think they have.
I don't know who's saying that. I'm surprised people are saying that, because that's completely contrary to how things are. But R. Rajagopalan, being a senior media person yourself, what do you make of this government move of opening up, digital media for FDI? 26%, of course, is a start.
Gautam, you and me are from print media.
Yes.
You know it very well.
But I used to be in print media.
No, of course, now you are in
You're
television
also now
media.
in electronic media.
I was. And I am the connect.
Both,
I take pride in saying I am the connect between print, digital, television and web journalism, mojo journalism, whatever that. Apart from that, you asked a question to Dr. Chaturvedi. He answered in technical way. I will answer in political way. 26% is an initial one. And in another 2 years, they will wait and watch how the climate changes, and they may increase it to 49, because it's going to be a positive altogether.
Yes. In fact, I wanted to ask that question. It's all about climate change, really, because there was one time where all these decisions were questioned. There was a lot of noise about the government can't do this. This sort of FDI, it will reimpose a sort of neo-colonialism on us. Dr. Chaturvedi, but now times have changed.
Yeah, absolutely right. And as Mr. Rajgopal very rightly mentioned, the dynamics of the sector is changing very fast, and you find more and more convergences, because the way people approached for news and the way they were trying to leverage whatever resources for getting news, I think is changing. More and more people are now looking more at digital than on to print, and you very rightly connected it with the climate change and resource conservation. So that probably, I think, is the way forward in the days to come.
In a lighter vein, I would say, Gautam, Prime Minister has been repeatedly saying in media interactions and even in open public platforms that India has produced 135 crores journalists, 135 crore photographers, because he encourages YouTube, he encourages go to Twitter. The digitalization is going to be the talk of the town in 2020, 2021 after 5G is unleashed.
Data, like they say, is the new oil, and all this is generating
and
data
one more second, if you have time for 1 second.
Certainly.
Dr. Chaturvedi said $300 million in 5 years FDI. It's not an easy joke. He compared it with the UPA regime, but what we got it more than 100% extra.
Exactly.
That is the doing of business, and that shows 2014, 2019, Narendra Modi got massive victory because people enforced their confidence in Narendra Modi. Second thing, what Narendra Modi has been doing from 2002 to 2014, that 12 years, Gujarat model, now he has shown the world Indian model, because every part of the world countries in the world, they come to India for FDI. Now, since today opened up in coal and digital sector, I am sure in another 6 months time you will see the flow of funds into FDI in these two sectors.
And of course, in terms of the other steps that may be required to ensure that this flow of FDI that has been happening in the country in an unprecedented manner continues and is even better, Dr. Chaturvedi, could you throw some light on that, the concomitant steps that the government perhaps needs to take, and not just the centre, state governments are equally important here.
Before I do that, Gautam, let me go back to the point that Mr. Rajgopalan made very correctly in terms of the medical seats that have been announced today. Right. The 15,000 seats, I just don't look at it in terms of strengthening Ayushman Bharat. Also, please look at the number of Indian students going out in other countries, to Central Asian countries, to neighboring China and other places.
Study medicine.
Exactly. And millions of dollars are being spent by these people in those countries. And when they come back, they find this root shock that the standards are so different that the Indian Council of Medical Research, and after the bill is passed, it would be further stringent in terms of compatibility.
I'm sure when these seats open up, there would be students coming from other countries to India to study medicine.
That is one, but our own requirement and our own deficit is so huge that in last several years, except outsourcing it to private sector, government has not spent enough on strengthening technical education, particularly in the medical sector.
Politically speaking, another thing, sorry Dr. Chaturvedi,
please.
Politically speaking, Gautam, this Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has a clever way of implementation, that is Pragati. No other Prime Minister, earlier Prime Minister had adopted that model. I have known senior bureaucrats who tell me in private that the decision of the cabinet today, Prime Minister reviews it in 15 days later, 1 month later, 20 days later, like that, he has kind of slabs where he has put up compartmentalized decisions and he ensures 15 तारीख ये डिसीजन हुआ था उसको क्या रिजल्ट मिला है. So therefore संकल्प से सिद्धि, the pet theory of Mr. Narendra Modi is being implemented by his close monitoring. That is why in 2019 Narendra Modi got 303 seats because of Pragati, because of Prime Ministers pushing to the bureaucracy to ensure that projects are implemented, election manifestos are implemented.
Dr. Chaturvedi, as far as this FDI decisions go, where do you think, if you talk of different countries and different kind of investors, would ears have perked up at this news that has emerged from India?
Largely, Gautam, if you see the investors, whether they are based in Singapore, South Korea, Japan, or they are in the Western capitals like New York, London, you find a sort of ability in most of them to leverage the pension funds, and which they want to park for longer durations. Given the fact that India provides political stability, India provides the ease of doing business, and India provides the huge cost-effective protection.
Well, and why leave out China?
No, if you look at China, the situation is changing very fast. Now, the huge protest and violence that you see in Hong Kong, the stringent domestic regime which is coming up in China, even Chinese investors are looking forward in terms of having the value chain established across some of the Asian countries, including in India. They are going to Vietnam, which is their first priority, and if you see the infusion of FDI in Vietnam, Vietnam's economy is now, the heat is very much evident. So, so it is important now that these steps have been announced and probably would pave way for more inflows in the days to come.
Supplementing what Dr. Chaturvedi said, I tell you, Gautam, Dr. Chaturvedi mentioned about the relationship between the Finance Ministry and the RBI. He was short while ago, he mentioned. Yesterday, the 1,70,000 crores input plus today's cabinet decisions, if you add together and Prime Minister's budget speech, the Finance Minister's budget speech, which is based on BJP's election manifesto, that shows the capacity of Mr. Narendra Modi to get these things implemented.
And as far as again getting these things going to the kind of levels that we expect, What do you think will be the role of state governments, if you could throw some light on that as well, Dr. Chaturvedi?
States would have to play a major role in terms of providing, and I think one important decision this government took quite some time back was to create a sort of constructive competition when they talk about cooperative federalism. So, states which are competing for foreign direct investment would have to come forward, and as Mr. Rajgopal very rightly mentioned, Maharashtra probably he referred to the sugar specific sector, but if I juxtapose that over the larger sort of spectrum covered in the cabinet decision today,
Yes.
you find more and more sectors being chased by the states.
Well,
and
yes,
attract
and
investments.
these coastal states, you know, if you talk about Gujarat, you talk about Maharashtra, you talk about Tamil Nadu.
No, don't forget
others.
Gautam, Orissa.
Yes.
I think the state where there was no major port, now it is competing directly with Singapore. So more and more efforts by this government under Sagarmala project
But
has
this
opened
decision,
up.
but this decision will also hold meaning for us soon to be not state but Union Territory Jammu and Kashmir.
That is absolutely true, but if you look at, as I was referring to the eastern states, the foreign policy now is more and more being leveraged for domestic economic growth.
Correct.
So whether you talk about Act East policy to connect the Northeast with the larger global market, you talk about Asia-Africa growth corridor, Prime Minister's recent visit to some of the West Asian countries, President's visit to Africa. Now there is hardly any country left in the 54 group of countries in the African continent where we have not connected. And if you see in last 5 years, our trade with Africa alone has expanded by 17%.
Yes.
So this is a huge jump in terms of leveraging diplomacy for domestic economic growth, and that I think is healthy not only for India but also for Africa, where you are providing the value chains, where you are providing the greenfield investment.
And Mr. Rajgopal, what do you say to those people who then create apprehensions or raise apprehensions about you know, this will open floodgates for over exploitation of our resources, and we will you know, stray from the sustainable development path? You think India is going to do that when it has taken on so much responsibility already, and we're going to be holding COP14 in September, starting the 2nd of September. The entire world is going to be here for 10 days.
Of course, that is it. Whatever you said, the opposition role is there. They are living in a fool's paradise, because 303 seats, Gautam, is not an easy joke. Politically, 40 years I covered parliament reporting. This is the first time where the government came up with a thumping majority. The reason? Prime Minister's foreign visits, Prime Minister's repeated monitoring processes, monitoring these projects. Apart from that, his energy to ensure during the political rallies, 400 rallies in 2019 he addressed. Those all culmination of today's cabinet decision, because whatever he has done is for the public, is for the, this government for 6 years, for 5.5 years, never had one scam, whereas compared to that UPA 2 had 8 scams. So when Mr. Chaturvedi compared it with the FDI of 181 and 300 crores $million, I compare it 6 scams, no scam in 2019 tak.
Okay. Well, today perhaps is not the day to talk about scams. We will, of course, look forward to more and more FDI pouring into the country, just as it has, and perhaps even better in the coming days if things stay on course. And you know, it needs to move globally as well. The environment globally also needs to be conducive to that process, and we can all hope that things progress in a positive manner, starting from the way things have gone, perhaps at the G7 level as well. Thanks for joining us for the time being, Dr. Chaturvedi and Mr. R. Raj Gopalan. Okay, now let's talk about what else has been happening. Well, the Modi government has now been in office at the centre in its second term for 75 days. But going by the list of initiatives, passage of bills in Parliament and launches of schemes, it seems as if it has been at the crease for much longer. Take a look.
True Intent, Bold Decisions is the name of the People's Connect booklet brought out by the INB Ministry's Bureau of Outreach to give an account of the first 75 days of the Narendra Modi government 2.0. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar unveiled the booklet at an event in the national capital on Wednesday, where he dubbed the centre's decision on Jammu and Kashmir as historic.
कश्मीर के जनता को विकास का देश के लोगों जैसा समान अधिकार नहीं मिलता था, वो विकास का सही अधिकार मिले, इसके लिए एक ऐतिहासिक निर्णय 370 के बारे में हुआ.
The minister said that the government has come out with a revolutionary budget, with the target of making the nation a $5 trillion economy. He added that India is the world's 5th biggest economy at present, and the goal is to make it the number 3 economy.
आज दुनिया की हम 11वीं अर्थव्यवस्था थे 2014 में, अभी 2019 में हमारा 5वां नंबर है. हम तीसरे नंबर पर जाने की मंशा रखते हैं. लो एम इज क्राइम, हाई एम रखना चाहिए, और उसके लिए कैसे राह तैयार कर रहे हैं ये भी हमने देखा.
Some of the big ticket decisions during the first 75 days of the Modi 2.0 government include abrogation of Article 370 to end the special status of Jammu and Kashmir, presentation of a revolutionary union budget, infrastructure spent to get 100 lakh crore rupees boost, anti-triple talaq bill passed in parliament for upliftment of Muslim women, farmers to get 6,000 rupees each year, pension scheme for farmers, pension scheme for 40 crore workers in the informal sector, passage of minimum wages bill, pension provision for small-scale business owners, amendments in the Motor Vehicles Act, key decision in favour of security forces. The minister said that the recently concluded budget session has seen 35 bills being cleared by Parliament. The speed breaker in the Rajya Sabha has now turned into
35 बिल पास हुए. पिछले अनेक सालों में राज्य सभा ये स्पीड ब्रेकर समझा जाता था. इस बार राज्य सभा भी हाईवे बन गया विदाउट एनी स्पीड ब्रेकर. ये हो गया.
The minister also did not miss the opportunity to point out that preceding governments didn't bother about giving any reports, but the Modi government has accounted for its first 50 and 75 days. With Girish Nishana in Delhi, Newsnight Desk, DD India, DD News.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah attended the 49th Foundation Day celebrations of Bureau of Police Research and Development at its headquarters in the national capital today. Addressing the top brass of police organizations, the Home Minister said usage of forensic evidence is the need of the hour for police investigators to clinch convictions against criminals. The Home Minister said that the government is mulling making forensic evidence essential in all criminal cases where the quantum of punishment is 7 years or more. On the occasion, the Home Minister released BPR&D's new logo. The theme of the function was promoting good practices and standards. The Minister said that BPR&D must adopt a holistic approach towards modernization of policing.
जो मॉडर्नाइजेशन का काम आप 7 स्तंभों के अंदर कर रहे हैं, वेपन्स, बैलिस्टिक्स, ट्रैफिक एंड ट्रांसपोर्ट, बिल्डिंग एंड डिजाइन, यूनिफॉर्म, लाइफ साइंस एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इक्विपमेंट्स, ये 7 विभागों के अंदर थोड़ा सामंजस्य रहे, एक दूसरे का सभी के साथ रिलेशनशिप है, तो इसको स्तंभ मानने की जगह एक रिलेटिव दृष्टि से मॉडर्नाइजेशन की पूरी स्कीम हमारी बने, एक होलिस्टिक अप्रोच से मॉडर्नाइजेशन को देखना चाहिए. कंप्लीट पुलिसिंग, कंप्लीट पुलिस की व्यवस्था एक राज्य के करने के अंदर 10 साल का राज्य का मॉडर्नाइजेशन का प्लान बनाना चाहिए, और इसी प्रकार से संपूर्ण देश को पुलिसिंग की दृष्टि से कंप्लीट करने के लिए 10 साल का एक प्लान बनाना चाहिए. मैं मानता हूं तभी जाकर मॉडर्नाइजेशन सही मानों में सफल होगा.
Amit Shah also asserted that police reforms are an ongoing process, saying necessary changes in CRPC and IPC will be made only after nationwide consultation.
CRPC और IPC के अंदर आमूलचूल परिवर्तन करने के लिए देश भर में एक कंसल्टेटिव प्रक्रिया शुरू करनी चाहिए, सबके सजेशन लेने चाहिए. तो CRPC और IPC के अंदर बहुत समय से बदलाव नहीं हुआ है, इसको करने के लिए हमने आगे बढ़ना चाहिए.
Now, the Bureau of Police Research and Development under the Home Ministry is tasked with preparing and suggesting better working policies and technology solutions for the police forces and to act as a national think tank on policing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed happiness that the Statue of Unity has got a spot in the Time 100 Greatest Places 2019 list. In a tweet, the PM has said, "Excellent news vis-a-vis the Statue of Unity. It finds a spot in the Time 100 Greatest Places 2019 list." And a few days back, a record 34,000 people visited the site in a single day. Glad that it's emerging as a popular tourist spot. The PM also expressed happiness that the water levels at the Sardar Sarovar Dam have reached a historic 134 meters. Sharing some breathtaking pictures of the dam, the PM tweeted, and I quote him again, "News that will make you thrilled. Happy to share that the water levels at the Sardar Sarovar Dam have reached a historic 134 meters. Sharing some pictures of the breathtaking view with the hope that you will go visit this iconic place and see the Statue of Unity." The 182-meter tall Statue of Unity is a statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and it is quite a sight to behold. Let's get you some international news now and a look at the latest decision by the UK government, which is opposition up in arms, which is already calling it death of democracy. Just 2 weeks before the Brexit deadline, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has sought a suspension of Parliament until the 14th of October to present a new legislative agenda. Downing Street said Johnson had already spoken to Queen Elizabeth II to request an end to the current parliamentary session in its second sitting week next month, starting the 9th of September. Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon reacted with anger on Wednesday after Boris Johnson moved to cut Parliament time before Brexit on the 31st of October. Sturgeon said that if the decision goes ahead, it will mark a historic moment when UK democracy died. Leader of Change UK, Anna Soubry, and the co-leader of the Green Party, Jonathan Bartley, echoed Sturgeon's sentiments, calling the move outrageous and saying Johnson is acting like a dictator. Reacting to Prime Minister's move to suspend Parliament, UK House of Commons Speaker John Bercow said it represents a constitutional outrage. Bercow said he was not told in advance of Prime Minister Johnson's decision. He said it is blindingly obvious that the purpose of the suspension would be to stop Parliament debating Brexit and performing its duty in shaping the course of the country. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has labelled Boris Johnson's plans to suspend Parliament as a smash and grab on UK democracy. The move to shut down Parliament, known as prorogation, has caused controversy, with critics saying it would stop MPs being able to use legislative measures to prevent a damaging British exit from the European Union as part of Johnson's do-or-die Brexit pledge. Meanwhile, the British pound has had a bit of a crash, so if you're planning to travel, now's a good time. Now, it's updates from all across the country as well. More updates from across the country in our regional roundup.
Union Minister for Women and Child Development Smriti Irani visited her parliamentary constituency Amethi today. Addressing the people, she announced that 72 wellness centres will be opened in Amethi. Maharashtra Cabinet has granted administrative and financial approval of Rs 992 crores. Additional expenditure for the multimodal international passenger and cargo hub airport at Nagpur. The project aims at developing the existing Nagpur domestic airport as an international passenger and cargo hub airport along with a huge special economic zone. Assam government has said that no left-out persons from the final National Register of Citizens will be detained under any circumstances till the Foreigners Tribunal decides on their citizenship. According to a public notice issued by the Additional Chief Secretary of the Home Department, 200 new Foreigners Tribunals are being set up shortly for hearing the appeals filed, which will be notified by the state government very soon. Sambalpur railway station in Odisha has been declared as a no-plastic zone. Sambalpur has become the second plastic-free railway station in the country after Tirupati railway station under the East Coast Railway. Central Bureau of Investigation sought permission of a court to attach the properties of fugitive jeweler Nirav Modi, his brother Nishal, and another accused in the over $2 billion Punjab National Bank scam. In the plea before the special CBI judge V.C. Bharde, the central agency said that the accused had left the country before the case was registered, so the warrants against them could not be executed.
Well, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in Russia these days to basically take care of the preparatory all the meetings that are taking place for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to that country in just a few days' time. He'll be there for the Eastern Economic Forum as well in Vladivostok in the 20th bilateral meeting between him as well as President Putin. And the External Affairs Minister was even harking back to his beginning of diplomacy days. He was first placed in Russia, and he said he's been coming and going to Russia for the last 40 years, and one thing is constant: India and Russia have always been friends and always will be.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is on a visit to Russia to give greater impetus to the strong India-Russia relationship and to finalize details of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming visit to Russia. On Wednesday, Jaishankar met his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. The two leaders discussed regional and international issues of mutual interest. This is his first visit to Russia after assuming charge as External Affairs Minister. The Eastern Economic Forum will be held in Vladivostok, Russia, from the 4th to the 6th of September, in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be the chief guest. Jaishankar and Lavrov reviewed the Prime Minister's visit and preparations for the 20th annual bilateral summit between the two countries. Earlier, the External Affairs Ministers spoke in detail about the abiding relationship between the two countries at a Moscow think tank, the Valdai Discussion Club. He described the Indo-Pacific, a region that has emerged from the changing world dynamics, as a very important place for India and the world. He also pointed out that Pakistan uses terrorism as a part of state policy.
I cannot think of any other country in the world which actually uses terrorism as a diplomatic tool against its neighbor. So it's actually a very unique phenomenon. We have struggled to have normal trade. They wouldn't give us MFN status, although they were members of WTO and GATT. They wouldn't allow connectivity from India to Afghanistan, Afghanistan to India. So if you have a neighbor who would not trade with you normally, who will not allow you connectivity, who thinks that using terrorism as a means of pressurizing you is okay as a policy, this is not a normal neighbor.
In Delhi, Russian Ambassador to India Nikolai Kudashev briefed the media about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Russia. He said it will begin a new chapter in the already close relationship between the two countries. Kudashev said that the two sides will hold extensive discussions on enhancing cooperation in many areas including defense, trade, civil nuclear, energy and hydrocarbons.
So, we do expect that this highly anticipated meeting between President Putin and Prime Minister Modi will extract new quality of the bilateral special and privileged strategic partnership, taking it definitely to new heights. The primary areas for cooperation have already been identified and include mining, diamonds, timber, agriculture, fisheries, and aquaculture. Relevant bilateral agreements are coming. This huge area is extremely rich in natural resources.
He affirmed Russia's strong support for the Parliament's decision to abrogate Article 370 of the Constitution.
Our position is crystal clear and well known, even to the Indian public. We belong that this decision is the sovereign decision of Indian government. It belongs to the constitutional space of India, thus making it naturally an internal matter of India. And naturally, we would prefer all the issues existing between India and Pakistan to be resolved through dialogue on the basis of Shimla Agreement and Lahore Declaration. If you would compare it to the relevant Indian position, my feeling is that you would come to the conclusion that our positions are almost 100% identical.
The Russian ambassador assured that India and Russia would enter a new dimension of enhanced cooperation during the upcoming summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President Vladimir Putin. With inputs from Amit Sahu, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been an active promoter of sports and fitness for long. Yoga springs to mind, but it goes beyond that. Now, in a bid to urge people to adopt a more healthy and fit lifestyle, the PM will be launching the Fit India movement tomorrow. The mass movement will be launched on the occasion of National Sports Day.
29 अगस्त को राष्ट्रीय खेल दिवस के रूप में मनाया जाता है। इस अवसर पर हम देश भर में फिट इंडिया मूवमेंट लॉन्च करने वाले हैं। खुद को फिट रखना है, देश को फिट बनाना है, हर एक के लिए, बच्चे, बुजुर्ग, युवा, महिला, सबके लिए ये बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग अभियान होगा।
A fitness enthusiast, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now focused on improving India's global healthcare and happiness index. To start with, Prime Minister conceptualized the idea of the Fit India movement that will help include physical activities and sports into the daily lives of the citizens. Prime Minister Modi will launch the movement from the capital's Indira Gandhi's Indoor Stadium on Thursday.
I would like to urge every Indian to join this Fit India movement to make India fit. We have this big dream of making India a powerful, a prosperous nation. For that, every Indian must be fit. So the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has visualized the concept of Fit India movement, and I am very happy that every section of the society are coming forward.
Indian actress Shilpa Shetty also posted a video on social media advocating the Fit India movement. University Grants Commission has asked higher educational institutes to make necessary arrangements to view Prime Minister's address on the launch of the movement. As part of the fitness pledge, UGC has asked everyone to walk at least 10,000 steps and follow it up in their daily routine. Sporting personalities have hailed the initiative. They believe that it will be a game changer for the country.
स्पोर्ट्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और उसके साथ फिटनेस भी बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। मतलब आज के टाइम में आप लोगों को देख रहे हो कि एक 81 प्लस एज भी कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है कि लोग वॉक देन लाइफ में फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी फॉर फिटनेस।
खेलों से देखो एक मानसिक स्थिति पे भी आदमी मजबूत होता है। आजकल जो युवा वर्ग हैं वो नशे में हैं, तो उनसे भी अगर आप खेलोगे कूदोगे तो शायद इन चीज़ों से दूर रहोगे।
फिटनेस तो सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है प्लेयर के लिए, और सभी लोग के लिए भी फिटनेस बहुत ज़रूरी होता है, जो हेल्थ के लिए भी बहुत फ़ायदा होता है।
I think it's going to take the movement forward. We will look at a healthy nation. We will look at an India which is as it is 65% youth. And if it's a healthy youth, we will have so much of power to do nation building in New India, in the right direction, in a positive way.
In contemporary times of stress and lifestyle diseases, fitness is a key part of wellness and plays an important role in keeping us healthy, preventing diseases and ensuring a better quality of life. Just like yoga has become a way of life, the thrust on fitness is expected to be the catalyst that's required to make it a new India. Tapush Bhattacharya's report, TD News, Delhi.
Fit India will be a hit India, so just get going. And that's all we have for the moment in Newsnight tonight, but the latest continues right here on DD India. Do stay tuned.
Namaskar and welcome. Well, the Amazon is burning. Massive fires continue to burn unabated in the Amazon rainforests. Amid this, leaders of different countries have different ways of tackling the menace. And while the Bolivian president, Evo Morales, has joined firefighters, the Brazilian president, Bolsonaro's list is full of conditions for accepting aid of about $20 million. Bolsonaro has long been accused of slashing funding for environmental protection and from seeking an apology from his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron for calling him a liar, to terming the aid offered by the G7 countries as tiny, to asserting that aid will be accepted on the condition that the Latin American country controls the money. Bolsonaro has long maintained that the European countries are trying to gain access to Brazil's natural resources. Now, as the wildfires continue to wreak havoc in Amazon, the countries of Peru and Colombia have called on fellow Amazonian countries to attend a presidential meeting which will be on September 6 on the wildfires and to forge a pact to protect the world's largest tropical forest. And according to the weathermen, some respite may come in the form of rain. This will be on September 10. However, a weak rainfall is unlikely to extinguish a record number of fires raging in Brazil's Amazon anytime soon. The blazes had destroyed 1.2 million hectares, or more than 4,000 square miles of forest and grassland since May. The blazes have nearly doubled this year compared with the same period of 2018, prompting, in fact, global outrage. Now, at a recent summit, which is the G7 summit in Biarritz in France, leaders there showed some commitment towards environmental concerns. Representatives of the UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and the United States decided to fund an emergency donation of $22 million to fight the fires in the Amazon. The decision was announced by the host, the French President Emmanuel Macron.
We will straight away offer